welcome to the part 1 of our course unit 13 and finals. Volunteerism part 1. So, volunteerism. Volunteerism means, refers to an act involving a wide range of activities, including traditional forms of mutual aid and developmental interventions that provides an enabling and empowering environment both on the part of the beneficiary receiving and the volunteer rendering the act. So, undertaken for reason arising from social, developmental, business, or corporate orientation, commitment, or conviction for the attainment of the public good, and where monetary and other incentives or reward are not the primary motivating factors. So, this is under the RA 9418, which is the Volunteer Act of 2007. Pag sinabi nating volunteerism, these are the set of activities, diba? Kaya nga sabi niya, wide range of activities for the purpose of what? For the purpose of helping, diba? Or empowering, sabi nga niya, environment, both on the part of the beneficiaries of other people. So, kapag sinabi nating volunteer, wala tayo sa compensations. We're not about the reward or incentives. Kapag sinabi nating volunteerism, we are doing for a common good. Yan. For example, yung mga nagvo-volunteer na mag-help, ayan, mag-help sa mga nangyari ngayong sa bagyong Ulysses. So, volunteerism yan. So, meron ba dito, for example, volunteer? Sino pwedeng gumawa ng ganyan? Tapos nagpabayad. Hindi yun volunteer kapag nagpabayad ka. Diba? So, overview of volunteerism. Volunteerism is one of the key strategies in nation building. So, mahalaga kasi yan talaga sa ating bansa. So, it allows people to share their talents and skills and be able to accomplish something altogether. So, volunteerism has evolved from its historical and cultural tradition of sharing. Actually, dati pa naman, nagkakaroon na tayo ng volunteerism. Yung tinatawag nating bayanihan, di ba? So, these are the notions of Filipino volunteerism employ various indigenous meaning as such. Yung ngay number 1, bayanihan. Bayanihan means, diba, a Tagalog term referring to mutual assistance and self-help among equals. Kasi, sabi nga nila, all for one, one for all. So, yan ay isang part ng volunteerism. Next naman is damayan. Alam niyo naman ng word ang damayan. Damayan is a Tagalog term which means assistance to others in times of grief or crisis. So, it is closest to the concept of episodic volunteering. Ang damayan, for example, nakita mo yung classmate mo nahihirapan. Katulad ng na-share kong video sa inyo. Diba, yung isa nating student from first year is nawalan siya ng bubong. So, anong ginawa ko? I asked some assistance, diba, or some help from his classmates, also sa mga students na handle ko. So, sabi ko nga kahit kasi parang pag sinabi nating damayan, papasok dyan yung empathy mo diba? Parang kung ano man yung nangyari sa kanya, tumutulong ka. Sasabi niya nga niya dito, assistance to others in times of grief or crisis. Next naman is kawang gawa. Okay, what is kawang gawa? Or parang pakikipagkapwa. Kawang gawa, may malasakit. Yan. A Tagalog term associated with the notion of charity. Yan. And embodies a relationship between and equals in society. It is the nearest notion of philanthropy. Ang kawang gawa parang, yun nga, may malasakit ka. Next naman is pahinungod. Pahinungod is a Cebuano term taken to mean a higher form of self-sacrifice, okay, and rooted to the Roman Catholic faith. So, it could be local version of pure. Pahinungod. Meron bang mga pahinungod sa inyo? Altruism because of its endemic nature. So, Cebuano term po ang pahinungod, which means self-sacrifice. Yung, for example, parang nagiging bayani siya. Sige, ako na lang lalabas. For example, sa COVID-19. Di ba, nung nagkaroon tayo ng COVID-19, bawal lumabas. So, di ba, sinasabi nila, kung sino man ang lalabas ng bahay, siya yung nagiging alay. So, parang ganun ang pahinungod. Yan. Next is bahaginan. What's naman yung bahaginan? No, hindi siya bahaginan, okay? Bahaginan, or nagbabahagi, nagbibigay. A Tagalog term that implies a more generic connotation of sharing. Ayan, bahaginan, o bahagi, parte. So, it is a discrete expression of pakikipagkapwa and associated with social cohesion. For example, meron kang egg pie. So, yung hindi ka nagiging madamot, isi-share mo yung egg pie mo sa lahat. So, those are the different acts of volunteerism here in the Philippines. So, volunteerism is manifested throughout the social, diba, and political history of the Philippines, starting from the time that Filipinos fought foreign powers to gain independence until the present when people banded together to maintain democratic governance. So, volunteerism started not just, magsimula pa nung una, nung pinaglalaban natin yung kapayapaan natin or parang pagiging sariling bansa. When the times that we are being conquered by the different countries such as Spain, diba, America and Japan, diba, yung mga heroes natin wala naman bayad sa kanila. They just volunteer to fight for our own country. So, doon pa lang nag-i-start na ang volunteerism. So, volunteerism also refers to the following. Sabi nga niya, it all forms of voluntary activity regardless of the number of hours served either full-time or part-time. Bakit yung mga bayani ba natin noon? Meron silang nakukuha pera? Wala. Diba? Undertaken through own free will and by his or her own choice. Ginusto nila yun. So, it can be local, national, or international based activity. So, without expecting financial, kasi kapag volunteer talaga, you're not expecting something in return. Kasi, at the first place, hindi yan magiging volunteer kung hindi mo ginusto na gawin yun. Diba? So, without expecting financial or material gain in return, but at times of food, transportation, allowances may be provided depending on the nature and the length of activity. Pero sometimes, syempre, yung mga nag-volunteer, lalo na kung sa isang organization, binibigyan naman sila ng kahit pa konsuelo lang, nabibigyan na sila ng pagkain, ganyan, kahit pa masahe lang nila. So, willingness to share one's expertise, experience, abilities, and knowledge. For example, nagkakaroon kayo magre-review kayo, there is a group review, o magbabarkada kayong lahat. Tapos yung isa matalino. So, nakita mo na nahihirapan yung mga classmate mo. Tapos, ikaw na matalino, ang ginawa mo is you share your knowledge. That is a form also of volunteerism. Bakit? Kung tuturuan mo ba yung mga classmate mo, babayaran ka nila? Hindi. Diba? Kung tuturuan mo ba yung mga classmate mo, mas tatalino ka? Or merong ibabalik sa'yo? Hindi. So, volunteerism, nangyayari din yan. Sharing one's expertise, experience, abilities, and knowledge. Next is naman just to basically gain experience. So, those are the volunteerism. Ito namang basically gain experience, for example, yung mga nasa Red Cross. May mga nag-volunteer sa Red Cross, lalo na sa mga, blood donation. Diba? Nag-volunteer ka na magkaroon ng, or mag-donate ng blood. So, tatanungin ka, bakit ka nag-volunteer or mag-donate ng blood? I just want to gain some experience. Kasi hindi ko pa po naranasan mag-donate ng dugo. Pwedeng ganun. At least, volunteerism yun. Kasi bakit? Ginusto niya, desisyon niya, walang pumilit sa kanya. That is volunteerism. And wala pong binabayad sa kanya. So, based on the 2003 UN or United Nations Handbook of Non-Profit Institution in the System of National Accounts, volunteerism involves two general categories, informal and formal. So, what is informal? Informal volunteering, it is defined as giving a certain amount of time without working through an organization. These are volunteer activities directly for other people. Where formal volunteering naman, it occurs if a person contributes time to an organization such as hospital, welfare association, or schools. These are the volunteer activities engaged through non-profit institutions or other types of organization. So, kaya meron silang mga, organization ng ILO, International Labor Organization, or Manual on Measurement of Volunteer Work. Anong pinagkaiba ng formal sa informal? Ang formal volunteering, merong specific agency. For example, hospital, school, Red Cross, ganyan. So, that is formal volunteering. Formal volunteering. Kasi merong agency. Ang informal volunteering, for example, naisipan mo lang tumulong sa mga, or naisipan mong tumulong doon sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo ng Ulysses, that is informal. Ibig sabihin, kahit walang agency, kusang gawa mo. Okay? Walang certain amount of time kung ano lang yung gusto mo, or kung ano lang yung kaya mong ibigay. So, there are 5 major types of volunteer activities implemented by different stakeholders in the Philippine society. So, we have government-supported volunteering. Merong mga ganyan. May mga agencies na, government agencies na nag-aalok talaga ng mag-volunteer. Tapos, ang ibinibigay lang sa kanila is allowance, travel allowance or food allowance. Pero yung sahod, wala po. Academe-based volunteering, ginagawa natin to, academe-based volunteering, if naalala nyo sa ating SOCI activity. Volunteering for non-government organizations or yung mga NGO. Corporate volunteering and the foreign-supported volunteering. So, isa-isahin natin yung mga yan. So, let's go now with the government support volunteering. The government has promoted volunteerism in order to mobilize resources for its own program, both at the national as well as local levels. So, the government supports two national volunteer programs. Number one is the Volunteers for Information of Development Assistance established in 1979. Ano to? It is a nationwide volunteer program run by the government through the PNV's SCA to train or organize the mobilize, support, and monitor a pool of Filipinos who are willing to render volunteer service. And also, meron tayong Bayanihang Bayan, the national program for government service established in 1991. So, this has been piloted in the 4 national government agency in DNR. May mga volunteer po tayo dyan. Department of Health, yan. CHED, okay, Commission on Higher Education, also in DSWD. Kayo, sa FIRE, sa BFP, diba? Yung mga ibang classmates ko or yung mga nagsi-graduate na sa Fatima, okay? Kung hindi pa sila nakakapasok sa mismong ina-applyan nila, minsan nag-volunteer sila sa BFP. Kasi minsan kasi talagang bibigyan ng certificate yon at magagamit nila pag nag-apply sila. So kayo pwede rin yung if you are targeting to in or to apply in BFP, maybe you can try that one, yung volunteerism sa BFP. So wala pong sahod yun na. Magjo-duty ka sa BFP ng walang sahod. Okay po. Madaming ganyan. Madami akong kakilala talagang nag-volunteer sila sa BFP tapos nag-apply and then nakapasok sila. So, next naman is academe-based volunteering. Ito. Yung katulad ng sa atin, ayan, sa SOCI. So, this was taken last year. Okay? Alam ko, ang program ko nito is yung sa Adapt a Creek program ng Fatima. So, ang RDD Fatima University, meron tayong SOCI or yung Social Orientation Community Involvement. Ayan, nandyan ako kung nakita nyo, si Ma'am Mick, si Ma'am Joe, si Ma'am Hazel. So, under the SOCI program, ako yung coordinator dyan. Diba? Si Ma'am Mick kasi sa co-curricular or the activities of the kids or the college students. Sa akin naman yung outside. So, kaya diba, nagkakaroon kayo ng certificate once na nagpa-seminar tayo sa labas or nag-conduct tayo ng volunteerism. So, last year, we made 3. So, number 1 is Adapt a Creek program. And then, the next one is nagpa-seminar tayo about drugs. And the last one is nagpa-seminar naman ako about the environmental laws doon sa ating adopted community. So, meron tayong adopted community which is the De La Paz. Diba? Yung pinuntahan doon. So, sino ba yung mga nakasama sa inyo noon last year? So, that is the academe-based volunteering. So, in every school, merong ganyan. Yung talagang nag-a-adapt sila ng community, tapos yun, doon sila mag-volunteer. So, academic institutions in the Philippines have been coordinating volunteer projects. So, structured volunteer activities occur at the level of higher education institution in collaboration with local communities. So, private non-sector institutions are the most numerous among such establishments in the country, followed by private schools and state universities and college. Ayan. So, lagi pong yan, nag-volunteer po yung mga students natin or yung mga academe or yung mga any other school kapag sa mga selected community area sila. Sa atin, ang selected community natin is the De La Paz. So, lahat ng mga activities na pwede nating ipagawa sa kanila, for example, pa-seminar tayo ng ganyan, bigyan natin sila ng mga trash can, ganyan. So, linisin natin yung creek nila. So, that is academe-based volunteering. Under po ng ating SOCI or Social Orientation Community Involvement. Masaya yan. Diba? Masaya pong nag-volunteer sa labas. Yung mga nakasama dyan. Diba? May video pa tayo. Next naman is volunteering for non-government organizations or mga NGO. So, NGOs with different areas of work arrange projects and programs and assign local volunteers as well as international volunteers. So, the top contributors to volunteerism is the non-profit sector or organization classified as culture and recreation groups, development and housing organization and unions. NGOs tend to cooperate, network, and create partnerships with POs, local communities, local government units, as well as with international partners. So what are the examples of large Philippine NGOs with volunteer workers are the Hands of Manila, yan, International Association for Volunteer Effort, the Philippine Red Cross, sabi nga sa inyo, and the Scout movement that is divided into Girls and Boy Scouts. So, yun yung mga NGO, non-profitable po yan, or hindi sila based in the government, but they used to volunteer. Kung bata kayo, Girl Scout and Boy Scout, volunteer. Next naman is we have the corporate volunteering. So, what is corporate volunteering naman? Volunteering the Philippine business sector is a component of CSR project. Yan. So, the companies make investments in community-based projects and the employees participate in volunteer work in local communities during their work hours. So, a common activity in the Build a Home program for Habitat for Humanity International and a non-profit ministry that works to eliminate poverty by providing help. Ang corporate volunteering, for example, sa mga company yan. For example, sa mga magbigay kayo ng company. Yung mga company na malalaki, kunwari may company ng ano bang company yung meron sa Pinas? For example, sa SM na lang, ganyan. Or SM department store, ganyan. So, nagkakaroon din sila ng outside activity wherein, yan, kunwari, magtatanim sila, or minsan, di ba, magdodonate sila ng food, magpapa-feeding sila. So, that is a corporate voluntary. Pag sinabing corporate, it means, it is a business form based on dun sa company na meron sila. Next naman is the foreign-supported volunteering. So, foreign-supported volunteer activities have increased through funding that from the Germans, the British, the Americans, the Koreans, and the Japanese in recent years. So, foreign-supported activities cover both volunteering by foreign nationals and external deployment of Filipino volunteers in exchange programs by the VSO, Bahaginan Foundation, and the United Nations Volunteer Program. Ito mga foreign-supported volunteering, ito yung mag-across the country with the different countries then within the Asia or minsan in America or Europe. So, ang nangyayari dito, nag-exchange. So, for example, may pupuntang mga Japanese people dito para mag-volunteer sila ng ganyan, then, or vice versa, Pilipino ang pupunta sa ibang bansa. Or sometimes naman, kahit naka-Filipino base and then meron lang magbibigay ng money, ganyan, or parang pupunta sa Pilipinas, or parang magpupondo lang sila para dun sa volunteer na ino-organize nila. Okay, so may mga ganyan po, foreign-supported volunteering. Next naman is the Philippine National Voluntary Service Coordinating Agency. So, tapos na tayo sa 5. So, diba? These are the 5 major types of volunteer activities. So, let's go now with this one. The Philippine National Voluntary Service Coordinating Agency. Na-encounter nyo to yung kaninang sinabi ko na PNVSCA. So, ano ba yung PNVSCA? So, PNVSCA stands for Philippine National Voluntary Service Coordinating Agency. It is the government agency mandated to promote and coordinate volunteer programs and services in the Philippines. So, it closely works with the other government agencies, NGO, academe, corporate group, and the media, and the other partners in converging and linking the different volunteering efforts and resources so that they are aligned with national priorities and assist especially the marginalized sectors and communities. So, PNPSCA takes the lead in advocating and recognizing the contributions of volunteers to nation building and international cooperation. Itong PNPSCA is parang siya yung nagko-control or nagmamanage sa lahat ng mga volunteering agency natin sa Philippines. For example, yung Red Cross, kanyan, diba? Or yung mga NGO. So, lahat na, academe, yan. Siya yung sila yung nagsusupervise or parang nagmumonitor about dun sa volunteerism or the nation building ng ating bansa. So, volunteerism. So, the true aim of volunteer in the local community is to improve the lives of community members. Generally, volunteerism saves resources, diba? Especially where social programs and affordable services are limited. Volunteerism helps to fulfill these gaps in critical services. Everyday volunteers what? Anong ginagawa ng mga volunteerism? Yan. They support families through daycare and elder care. Ayan. Improve schools by tutoring and teaching literacy. Support youth in mentoring and after-school programs. Yung mga nakita nyo sa street, yung mga nagtuturo, kahit walang bayad, diba tinuturuan nila yung mga batang kalye? So, ano ba ang importance ng volunteerism? So, sabi nga niya, it beautifully local areas through beach and park cleanups. They build homes for the homeless. Yan. Diba mas masaya kasi kung nakakatulong ka sa kapwa mo tao. Sabi nga niya, it is better to give than to receive. Always remember that. Mas okay nang ikaw yung nagbibigay kaysa ikaw ang binibigyan. Kasi pag ikaw ang binibigyan, ibig sabihin ikaw ang nangangailangan. Pero kapag ikaw naman ang nagbigay, therefore, ikaw yung, may kaya or parang hindi mo naman kailangan ng tulong. So, you just need to help them. So, what are the benefits? Sabi nga niya, volunteerism connects you to the others. You believe in that? O, di ba yung, yung nauso na meme sa FB? Di ba yung love at first rise? Yung nagbigay ng relief goods dun sa babae, tapos nagkatinginan sila. So, volunteerism connects you to the others. So, it helps you make new friends and contacts. Ayun, di ba? Sabi nga, love at first rise. Ayan. Sabi nga, bigas lang ang binigay, ang hinihingi ko, pero pag-ibig ang binigay mo. Ayan, di ba? Helps you make new friends and contacts. Ayan. It increases your social and relationship skills and volunteering as a family. So, kapag nakikisali kayo sa mga volunteer na ganyan, lalo na sa mga agency ng Philippines or sa mga NGO, madami kang nakikilala. And as we all know, if madami kang nakikilala na experience, mas dumadami ang learning mo, mas lumalaki ang pagkatao mo. So, volunteering is good for your mind and body. Bakit? Kasi masarap sa pakiramdam ang nakatulong, di ba? It increases your self-confidence. It combats depression. Bakit? Kasi pangingitiin ka eh. Diba? Isipin mo dahil sa maliit na bagay na binigay mo, napangiti mo yung mga mukha nila. Ayun. So, it helps you stay physically healthy. So, volunteering, the happiness effect. Ayan. Helping others, kindness, happiness, as many studies have demonstrated. So, when researchers at the London School of Economics examined the relationship between volunteering and measures of happiness in a large group of American adults, they found out that the more people volunteered, the happier they were. So, according to a study in social science and medicines, so it is compared with the people who never volunteers, the odds of being very happy rose at just 7% among those who volunteer monthly and 12% for the people who volunteer every 2 to 4 weeks. Yan. So, kayo, lalo na sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo, if you can volunteer, diba, or if you can help them at any cost, diba, sabi nga nila, kahit 20-20 lang, diba, pag pinagsama-sama mo yan, makakatulong kayo sa ibang tao. So, volunteering can advance your career. It can provide experience. Yan. Sabi ko nga yung katulad sa BFP. Yan. So, teach you valuable job skills. It promotes personal growth and self-esteem. That is the very most important. And the volunteering brings fun and fulfillment to your life. So, you get a chance to give back. Volunteering encourages civic responsibility and it always make a difference. So, that is volunteerism part 1 and under your course unit 13. So, after you watch this one, okay, you need to watch the part 2, which is the course unit 14. Volunteerism part 2 na yan. Again, if you have any questions about this PowerPoint or this discussion, you can ask me anytime. Okay, just PM me. Thank you.